So I just finished watching Plato's Stepchildren. This was pretty bad. Honestly, with the exception of one really iconic scene, this episode would easily be thrown into my worst of pile. This episode is something I had heard about. I didn't realize it was going to be this episode, but I knew that this scene took place in the show. And that is the iconic kiss between William Shatner and Nichelle Nichols, which is supposedly the first interracial kiss seen on TV. Now, I have been told differently that there was something else that's done it before. Regardless, this is the most famous. Here we are, still in the middle of the civil rights movement, with a still vaguely popular TV show. It is third season, so bad time slots, all that. But we have a white man kissing a black woman in this episode. Shocking. Today, whatever, not a big deal, unless you live in Alabama. So, getting to the heart of this episode, we have another set of godlike aliens with superpowers, and Kirk, Spock, and McCoy can't beat them, so they have to outthink them. Yeah, we've got another one of these. And unfortunately, this one is handled the worst of any of them, I think, where some of the others, the crew were put into some funny and wacky situations, and it was played for laughs. Whether it worked or not, it at least came off as funny, and you can kind of chuckle at it a little bit, like, alright, they at least tried. This, I have no idea what they were thinking when they wrote this script. There is a scene in it that I literally had to turn off, and it took me 4 tries to get through it, because it was so bad. I'm talking Tommy Wiseau bad. Alright? I've never seen this level of bad on Star Trek. I've seen dumb on Star Trek. I've seen idiotic on Star Trek. I haven't seen painfully awkward bad before, like I have with this. So anyway, there's this planet, there's these godlike aliens, they're all dressed like Greeks, and they have telekinetic powers, but apparently if they get cut, they die. Yeah, some aliens. Are these like the cousins to the aliens that invaded Earth in Shyamalan's Signs? The ones that attacked but couldn't defend against wood or water? Yeah, those aliens. Kind of getting the same thing here. These new aliens live forever and ever. Of course, they look like humans. The only one who's interesting in the whole group of them is the outcast from the group, this character named Alexander, and he is a dwarf. And the actor who played him was great. Brought a lot of charisma to that character. They did play up a little bit of the element of him being a dwarf was part of his character as well. But it was really nice to see a little person at that time period not being portrayed as just little person. He was, without a doubt, the strongest character in this episode, far more than our normal cast. I actually want to go and find out what else that actor has done, because he was just wonderful to watch. Great voice, lots of charisma, really active. He got into his role, and he did a great job. And like I said, that role was written really well. Other than for that, yeah, the rest of it sucked. So these aliens decide that they're going to kidnap Bones, and Kirk and Spock are like, no, you're not. And of course the aliens are like, oh, boogity boogity, telekinesis. And there's this scene where Alexander rides around on Shatner, and Shatner's on all fours making horse sounds. Yeah, it's probably a good 3-4 minutes long sequence of Shatner and Nimoy acting like idiots. Just like little children. Well, I get it because the aliens are making them do it, but it was so stupid and not in a fun way. Had they, made them act like something else, it could have been fun. I had no problem with the telekinesis being used on them and having them do stuff, but there was so much of it. Honestly, if I had to tally up how much telekinetic power is used in this episode to make people do stuff they don't want to do, I'm honestly going to go with at least 10 to 15 minutes. It just came off as filler most of the time, instead of anything really cool. It was just these long, drawn-out scenes of Shatner and Nimoy dancing. Yep. Nimoy dancing around Shatner's head, and oh no, he may step on his face, but he may not step on his face. And there's a whip, and there's a hot poker, and there's singing, and there's dancing. And then they beam down Uhura and Nurse Chapel, and now they're under the telekinetic powers. And Spock and Chapel kiss, and then Kirk and Uhura kiss, and oh, it's kind of shocking, and it was just dumb. It was really just dumb. Like I said, I think my biggest part was it was just all filler. The conclusion, we saw it coming. Kirk was going to outsmart them and have some morality tale at the end. They beat the bad guys by getting telekinetic powers themselves, and they take Alexander away with them back to the ship. That's it. So, is this an episode to watch or not? And that's what I'm torn on saying. And I'm going to say yes, watch this episode because of the kiss scene. And I hope that doesn't come off as weird or awkward for me to say, because this is like 50 years later. And I think as a society, we have moved so far beyond a black woman and a white man kissing on television. But we also have to remember that there's still stuff that, people are really upset about that we see in the media with all the marriage equality stuff going on right now. And think about how shocking it was when we had the first, gay kiss on television. Now that's kind of being commonplace. I think for a historical relevance, this episode is really great to watch. I think for a fan of Star Trek, but even more so a fan of pop culture, this is a key episode to watch, if just for that scene. So I may even recommend just look up that scene on YouTube and watch that scene. It's short, but it's powerful. It's meaningful. If you want more, go ahead and watch the rest of the episode. And if you want to see Shatner and Nimoy act like idiots, go ahead and watch this episode, because you're going to get plenty of it. And their performances really weren't that good. And I think that was another thing that bugged me, is I've said before on here that I love when the actors, especially those two, get to break out of their character and play a different sort of character. When we had evil Spock and evil Kirk and stuff like that, they're fun. A piece of the action when they played gangsters. Yeah, they were still themselves, but they were pretending to be gangsters. That was a lot of fun. This wasn't fun. It was awkward. Very uncomfortable awkward. So, yeah, that's Plato's Stepchildren. Take it for what it is, guys. And I will see you later. Oh, and also, I want to apologize about this light. This is the first video I'm recording at night, and that's the only light I have in this room. Normally, I'm using natural light, so it looks much better, and that's why I have an awkward lens flare there. I'm not going to do this again, or I'll get better lighting. Alright, guys, I'll see you later.